And it's 10 a.m. here in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on this fresh episode of Business Morning. I'm Ladi Williams.
Good morning and welcome to an hour of Business Talk. I'm Ini John Mekwa. Well, just before we delve into the talks, let's see what's happening in the world of business. Let's start with oil prices. It fell today after OPEC Plus agreed to keep its policy of gradually returning supply to the market at a time when coronavirus cases around the world are surging and many United States refiners, a key source of crude demand, remained offline. Brent crude was down by 16 cents to $71 for 3 cents a barrel after dropping 4 cents yesterday. However, OPEC Plus raised its demand forecast for 2022 while also facing pressure to accelerate production increases from the Biden administration, which said it was glad the group had reaffirmed its commitment to raising supply.
Meanwhile, the global economy is now expected to rise by 5.6% this year and 4.2% in 2022, and that's according to the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. At the virtual meeting held, ministers from the oil-producing cartel voted to maintain their growth expectation for world demand, oil demand at 6 million barrels per day for 2021, while keeping output policy unchanged at 400,000 barrels per day for its members. However, oil production output forecast for non-OPEC members is now expected to grow by 1.1 and 2.9 million barrels per day in 2021 and 2022, respectively. While OPEC and non-OPEC members are expected to have their next meeting on October the 4th.
And back here in Nigeria, the country's foreign exchange reserves has hit a new high in more than 2 months. And that's just in 1 week. And that's according to the data from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The country's external buffers jumped $500 million to $33.93 billion as at the 30th of August. That's the highest since June the 11th. The renewed increase is largely attributed to the recent allocation of special drawing rights from the International Monetary Fund, which has been expected to boost the forex reserve. Before now, the FX reserves recorded 2 weeks of decline to stand at $33.43 billion, and that was the 23rd of August.
And despite being the largest employers in many low-income countries, the viability and growth of micro, small, and medium enterprises are threatened by inadequate or restricted access to loans. This is more glaring, given that most MSMEs are still struggling to recover in the post-COVID-19 lockdown era. During the second edition of its annual lecture series, the Development Bank of Nigeria engaged stakeholders to explore solutions and influence policies aimed at addressing the constraints faced by MSMEs. Do take a listen.
The Development Bank of Nigeria, DBN.
After it was disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, the Development Bank of Nigeria annual lecture series is back in a virtual form.
Just as we continue our lending to
This year's theme, according to the chairman of the bank, is premised on the company's commitment to provide a conducive environment for micro, small, and medium enterprises to thrive.
For DBN, this initiative gives expression to our 5-year strategic plan of expanding our reach, exploring new channels, advocating for MSMEs, developing our internal capacity, and making an impact across all segments of the Nigerian economy.
At the core of the lecture, the keynote speaker offers new dimensions for MSME survival.
For post-COVID-19 recovery, new thinking is essential. Redefining and broadening customer bases to include virtual customers and establishing reliable sources of funding.
To further unpack issues affecting MSMEs, a panel of successful entrepreneurs in different fields bring their experience to bear, identifying more innovative ways that small-scale industries can continue to do business.
One of the key things that we've learned in our own odyssey with capital and access to capital is that, one has to be very intentional about where they allocate capital.
If you use the waste from agricultural products and agricultural processing to generate energy, that is also highly sustainable.
Against the backdrop of its strategic role as an MSME-focused institution, you may want to know what the Development Bank of Nigeria is doing to champion this cause.
In the year 2020 alone, the sum of 190 billion was disbursed through 19 PFIs, out of which 9.8 billion naira were to 6,935 first-time borrowers, 5.7 billion to 9,066 youths, and 11.8 billion naira to 25,171 women-owned businesses. Cumulatively, 83% reported an increase in their sales after obtaining the loan, while 48% were able to increase their staff strength after receiving the facility.
The Development Bank of Nigeria says it will continue to work towards building the capacity of small businesses to eliminate their challenges and transform them into instruments for positive and sustained change. You're welcome back. Well, the long-awaited OPEC Plus meeting has come and gone, but of course, we wait to see the impact of their decision to stick to the agreed increased output of 400,000 barrels. We have Adeshola Sumoni joining us from Reading in the United Kingdom to discuss this and a whole lot more. Hello, Adeshola. Good morning.
Hello, Ine. Good morning, and thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, good to have you. So OPEC Plus we are talking about has come and gone, and they have decided to stick to their existing policy on production increase. At the same time, we see that they have revised upward their outlook for demand in 2022. Does this come as a surprise, and what's the implication of this?
Thank you for that question. And first, it does not come as a surprise that OPEC decided to, stick to their plan of gradually increasing output by, 400,000 barrels a day for every month up until December. This is because, it was quite difficult for OPEC and its members to agree to this deal in the first place when in their meeting in July. The second reason is because of uncertainty about the rising cases of Delta variant of coronavirus, particularly in Asia. So there is some uncertainty about the path of oil demand in the immediate term. And the third reason is because of the OPEC Plus are going to be meeting quite regularly every month up until the end of this year. So if there's any sharp or if there's any significant change in market fundamentals in the next meeting, they can change path. You also said that they revised upwards their demand outlook from 3.3 million barrels per day up to 4.2 million barrels per day. I think this just suggests that OPEC is bullish about the future, and it also, indicates that we might see higher increase in output early next year. But for the rest of this year, OPEC forecasts that the market will be in deficit by around, 900,000 barrels a day, which suggests that, oil demand growth is going to be higher than oil supply growth this year, and prices are going to remain elevated.
Okay, so looking at Nigeria now, with this outlook from OPEC, and yesterday there was a meeting, and one of the things that came out of that medium-term meeting plan for 2022 to 2024 is that Nigeria is holding the price in the budget of oil at 57, for 2022. How does this affect us, How does it concern Nigeria now?
I think first of all, as an oil exporter, it is positive for Nigeria because OPEC for next year they are very bullish on oil demand growth. So I think that would support oil prices. So I think prices will still remain quite elevated even going into next year. And I think it's also going to be higher than the benchmark price of around $57 per barrel. So we'll have some some accretion into the excess crude account, and would also meet our revenue targets. In addition to that, the production also, Nigeria's production is expected to increase, which is also positive, and I think that's going to be positive for government revenue and external reserves and things like that. So I think it's good news for Nigeria.
All right, so the bread price now is pulled back, post meeting. Is this sell the news happening, or is it a new trend, a new downward trend for the prices?
Oh, it's just temporary. One is like, this from yesterday, OPEC pumped in 400,000 fresh barrels of oil into the market. But also in the US, we saw a rise in crude stockpiles higher than expected. I don't remember the exact figure. I think was a rise of 7.2 million barrels per day. And also the end of the driving season has come. So we also see a build up in gasoline. So I think that increase in supply, or that build up in crude stockpiles is what's pushed prices downward yesterday.
All right, so what does Nigeria stand to benefit from the increased output and the revised forecast?
like I mentioned earlier, it is, first of all, it is positive for Nigeria because, one, it is higher than our budget benchmark. Two, it's higher than the medium-term expenditure framework, the benchmark for that, which is around $57 per barrel. So I think it is positive for that in the sense that OPEC is very bullish. We are also very bullish about oil prices going forward. We expect it to remain elevated. At the worst case scenario, we expect it to get to around like $65 per barrel, which is still higher than our projected prices. So it is positive. Also, Nigeria's production is expected to reach, I think, 1.8 million barrels or 2 million barrels per day going to next year. So with the higher oil prices and higher production, I think it's good for Nigeria's government revenue. I think it's good for our budget, our revenue targets, budget implementation. It's also positive for our external reserves, and it's also very, very positive for the exchange rate.
Yeah, but you know, the bullish trend in oil prices also means that Nigeria has to budget more for subsidies. So when you balance it out, where do we benefit?
So that's a very good question, Lini. Thank you for asking. So when I was talking, I mentioned as an oil exporter, this is positive for Nigeria. But as a PMS importer, then we come back to this, this discussion around, oil subsidy. So with higher oil prices, definitely the landing cost of PMS in Nigeria is going to be higher. And in the absence and since currently we do not adopt what's the word now? Flexible market. We do not adopt market prices. So there's still a subsidy that's going to be paid by the government. So I think it's a delicate trade-off, really. On one hand, we have higher government revenue in terms of higher prices and higher production. But on the other hand, you have higher landing costs of PMS, and that means that there's still subsidy to be paid. So I think it's kind of a delicate balance, really.
And now, the federal government has said that there will be budgets for subsidy for even next year. So it doesn't look like subsidy is going away very soon in Nigeria.
It doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it. Unfortunately, even though some reports show that if the government removes subsidy totally, we can be saving around 2 trillion naira per annum. And I think that money can be used more productively, in other areas that will boost productivity, boost economic output, boost economic activity as well. But unfortunately, it's a trade-off between short-term benefits, short-term costs, and long-term benefits. Obviously, because of subsidy is such a political issue in Nigeria, removing it is going to cause some chaos and some social unrest, and those are the short-term costs. But in the long term, there are things that we are giving up that that have longer-term and more productive effects on the Nigerian economy.
All right, so away from oil now, headline inflation in the Eurozone rose to a 10-year high of 3% in August. That's 1% above the ECB's target rate of 2%. How might this affect the ECB's monetary policy and Nigeria by implication?
Thank you for that question, Ladi. So like you said, Eurozone, the headline inflation in the Eurozone increased by the fastest pace in the past 10 years. It got to 3%, which is about 1 basis point above the 1 percentage point, I beg your pardon, above the ECB's target rate of 2%, and was driven mainly by supply bottlenecks, by higher energy costs, and by the stronger demand as the global economy recovers. Now, what has happened is that this inflation number is going to feed into the meeting of the ECB next week, and I think what's going to happen first is that ECB is going to revise upwards its inflation target, but also is going to the inflation numbers is going to strengthen or embolden the hawks among the ECB to push for a tapering down or a dialing down of the quantitative easing program in the European Union. So currently there's about a 1.85 billion euros quantitative easing program every month, where the central bank buys government bonds and other securities from the commercial banks in order to inject liquidity into the system. So if this higher inflation rate now is going to embolden the hawks among the ECB to push for push for, dialing down of the quantitative easing program in the EU, and that has implications for both the European Union and developing and emerging market economies, in the sense that with less money, investors will be less risk loving, and they may pull up some of their investments in emerging market economies. We also see that in the United States. I mean, at the last meeting of the Federal Reserve in Jackson Hole last week, the Fed President, Jay Powell, also alluded to the fact that, the U.S. Fed would start to dial down on their quantitative easing program towards the end of the year.
Well, India is also the largest trading partner of Nigeria. Nigeria is its largest trading partner in Africa. Now that their GDP shows a surprising surge, what's the implication for global commodities markets in Nigeria?
Thank you. So, like I said, India is one of Nigeria's largest traders and largest trading partners, and India is also one of the largest buyers of commodities. So, first, this growth in their GDP is mainly driven by low base year effects. I mean, around the same time last year, the Indian economy contracted by negative 24%. So compared to this, it is simply or mainly driven by low base year effects, not like there's any strong growth. If you look at the Q1 figure, the figure of the quarter ended March, growth was only 1.6%. But the IMF and also the government of India, they are very, very bullish that the market, despite pockets of COVID cases in India, that the market fundamentals are still very strong, and that the economy is projected to grow by 9.5% in this year. So that's positive for Nigeria, because if our biggest trading partner is growing, then that means they are buying more. That means there's stronger international trade. That means we'll see some more higher trade between Nigeria and India, and that's also positive for our export earnings. And for the global economy, for the global commodities market, I think that is also positive for prices, because we're going to see higher demand from India.
All right, more money, more demand, I guess. So talk us through the developments in the global commodities market and your near-term outlook.
Okay, thank you for that. So for the global commodities market, starting with grains, the price of wheat was up yesterday, and this was driven by lower production coming from Russia and the United States. And we expect that this is likely that this tight supply in the global economy is likely to persist in the near term, and prices are likely to remain elevated in the immediate to near term. For corn, we saw that the prices are down, and this was because of worries about its glut in the global economy. Also, the Hurricane Ida in Louisiana, the United States, also shut off some exports terminals in the U.S., and this supply disruption, I think, is likely to keep prices elevated, quite a little bit elevated in the near term. For the soft commodities, for cocoa, we are seeing a huge supply coming from these the large producers in Africa. We're talking about Ghana, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, and Nigeria. Seeing large supply coming from them and low demand, and that is putting prices. That is weighing on prices. And for sugar, we are seeing low demand in Asia as the Delta variant leads to localized lockdowns and weighs on demand. And this lower demand is likely to persist in the near term.
All right, Adesola, thank you so much for that. Adesola Sumoni is a researcher, financial derivatives company. Thank you for your time on Business Morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll take a moment now. Business Morning returns in a moment. To stay with us. Welcome back now to our next conversation. In April 2021, Counterpoint Technology Market Research, a global research firm specializing in products in the technology, media, and telecom industry, released a report showing Techno as Africa's top smartphone brand. This is an achievement which the organization is proud of, and building on. We have Lucia Liu now, the global head of public relations for Techno, joining us now on Business Morning. Great to have you on the program. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Okay, great to have you, Lucia. So congratulations on this recognition, but what we'd really like to know is about the this Techno brand campaign, Stop at Nothing. Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yes, we just launched a new campaign named Stop at Nothing. By this campaign, we actually pay tributes to those who always push forward against all odds, including the young generation from Nigeria. For Stop at Nothing, it not only represents Techno's recognition of the progress and also the pursuit of potential and excellence, it also represents the values and attitude we embrace as a brand and our role in providing the technology our consumers need to progress in their real life, in pursuing their dreams.
And Techno's latest choice of superpower is American actor Chris Evans. What's the idea behind having a superpower, and how do you intend to deploy this concept in Nigeria?
Yeah, thanks for the question, which is really great. When we're considering having a superpower, we hope that we can really find, someone who embodies Techno's brand motto of young at heart, who is always pushing to pursue, their dreams, always pursue excellence. And then, we came to a partnership with Chris Evans, who share the same value and the same attitude. So by partnering with him, we hope that we can enhance, our brand spirit, and also at the same time to also enhance our products with stylish designs. We hope that, we can also by partnering with Chris Evans, we can expand our international brand at global emerging market. In the meanwhile, we can also grow further in Nigeria, especially among those young generations who is also a fan of Chris Evans.
All right, what is Techno's plan to step up smartphone penetration or adoption in Nigeria and other emerging markets?
Techno, we built our business in Africa, and Nigeria is one of our core markets, contributing to our business growth. Looking at the future, we aim to build our business at global emerging markets and, build Techno as an international brand. But during that process, Africa will still be a key focus. We will have long-term commitment.
And then we've heard of the term glocalization in your company's communication. What's that all about?
For glocalization, to put it in short, it means global mindset and local innovation. Speaking of offering and business operation in Africa, while we're looking at the global trends, we hope that we can bring the international technologies to Nigeria, while at the same time, we can bring innovative features, which is more adaptable for local consumers, so that we can bring innovative devices that better serve the local consumers' demand.
All right, what kind of groundbreaking designs should we expect from Techno?
I would say that it's really worth expecting. People will see that in our design language, it's not just a beautiful design, but it's more from the human side. It's more humanly touched with more elegant design language. More seamless experience of our HiOS system, and in general, some surprising features in the interface, including the interaction interface, when people using the phones. So it's everything, from the hardware design to the software design.
And some Nigerians often complain of high costs of acquiring smartphones as well as a high cost of after sales. How does your company cater to this segment of consumers with low purchasing power?
At Techno, we have very broad product lines. Yes, we start from Africa, with Nigeria is one of the key focus market. We do understand the consumers' demand from with different purchasing powers. That's why we have very comprehensive product portfolios, which includes entry-level smartphones and higher-end smartphones, to make sure we satisfy different group of people's demand. In terms of the after-sales service, actually we keep listening to our consumers' pain points, and we keep upgrading our consumer services. For example, over the past years, we have upgraded our device warranty period from 1 year to 2 years. We have also added, for example, commonly seen broken screen insurance to protect our consumers from accidental screen damage. And newly this year, we have launched new programs, which is we are doing maintenance on the whole device rather than just a single component fixes. So, in summarize, we are keep upgrading our services to better serve and protect our consumers for better convenience and efficiency. We will keep doing so in the future.
Okay, what's the maintenance plan in Nigeria, for Techno phones?
We have different services for different models. So for the long run, we have different maintenance services for our consumers. Not just from the services side, but also we have different programs. For example, we have a special customer service day that consumers can come to our service service networks to have to have their support whenever they have a problem. We also have very easy to access app appointment and also online hotlines to make sure our consumers can have access to us wherever they are located in the country.
And Nigeria is very big on creating employment now. What's the plan for Techno to maybe assemble here in Nigeria, create employment, get more Nigerians involved in the assembling production of your phones? Looks like we lost her. Well, we'd have loved to hear their plan about bringing it home. But I mean, that's their new slogan, and wish them all the best.
Stop at nothing.
Stop at nothing, yeah. Nothing should stop you, actually.
Yeah, what a catchy slogan there.
Yeah, well, that was Lucia Liu, the global head of public relations for Techno, telling us about their new slogan. And she joined us all the way from Hong Kong. But I think it's time to move to the markets now. We have Anyete to give us details of how the market went yesterday.
Yes, good morning, Ini. The market is still in the red color, even though we've entered a new month. But so within the week, we're down for a third consecutive session, and we've lost about 156.4 billion naira in the 3 days, and that's no thanks to profit taking on some of the market's major components. But of course, like I said, the market is not really about losses. It's actually about profit taking from some investors who are trying to take advantage of some of their investments. So now let's take a look. Let's have a recap of how it ended yesterday. 0.09%. That's what the market, the latest pullback made on the market, and it's slowly going, a little further from the 39,000 level, but the equity cap is still well within that 20.4 trillion naira mark. Also, now let's take a look at the sectoral performance. Not a pretty good picture there, right across the board. The highest there was from the consumer goods counter. 2 days ago, it was Nigerian breweries. Day before, it was Honeywell Flour. And then yesterday, of course, we saw Nigerian breweries again making a 2.9% pullback. That's due to the sell pressure, intense pressure, sell pressure exerted on it by, some of the investors there. Now, but let's take a look at the volume of transactions there. Also, not a pretty good picture. That was down by a very wide margin, 60.2%. Then what we have there, 1.42 billion naira in over 3,400 transactions. But when you take a look at the other side of the securities market, which is the unlisted securities market, it made some rebound yesterday, managing to regain about 0.05%, from the losses that was recorded on Tuesday's transactions. And then, of course, the market's value is still within that 647 billion naira level. Still a quite a small market. We had the likes of Central Securities Clearing System, which was the only gainer there. and then it went up by 1.24%. And then, of course, the Nigerian Exchange Group, which is listed on that smaller securities market, it went down by 2.48%. But now, we were talking about the equities market, so let's talk to Abdul Rashid Momo, who is a trader at TRW Stockbrokers. So let him give us what to expect on the market. Okay, thank you for joining us, Abdul Rashid.
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
Yes. So not a pretty good way to start the new month, September, although we made more than 320 billion naira in August. But the last 2 days, we lost about, well about 138 billion naira. So what's the current state of the market in the new month?
Oh, where do I start from? Basically, the market trend, if you see, has been bullish but very shaky, right? It's been very shaky. There are a lot of optimism. People have been waiting for the interim dividends, financials from the big four, that's the Zenith, UBA, Access, GTB, because those are the ones that actually give interim dividends. The market leader, Zenith, has brought out their financials, and the market seemed not to have reacted to it. But basically what I need to tell investors at any point in time is that there are only two players in the market. There are the traders and the investors. The traders are not really having any much fun because there are no rallies in the market. The market has just been flat. But one thing I will say technically is that support levels have been very, they are shaky, but they've been holding. Example, I'll give you, Zenith has been like, it was at 24 naira. UBA has a very strong level about between 740 to about 760. So we are still within the trade bound, you understand? There is still no cause for alarm. Despite the fact that overall market scenario, we have more of sellers than buyers, but the buyers are still, the sellers have refused to sell lower than those strong levels I've mentioned about. Until those levels are broken to the downside, before I can actually say that the market is weak, for now, I still think the market is stable.
Okay, so now, Abdul Rashid, we're fast approaching the end of the second quarter, and then we'll be looking out for the third quarter results. Yes. Now, what do you think would inspire new investors to enter the market and then maybe rev up the sentiments?
Yeah, as I said, the market is definitely, from what I'm seeing, it is still a good time. Because one thing about the market is going to surprise people because technically when markets are range bound, we expect a breakout. And the breakout might not be up or down, but the next movement is going to be massive, right? We've been seeing this in all of from July till date. Market has been range bound. From the stocks I said they've been range bound. We've not seen so much drop or so much significant highs from what we've seen. Basically, the market cycle, right, over the years has been after July. The market normally drops till we start seeing momentum in November. But for the past 2 years, market has taken a different turn. And I think that's why we're not seeing any more changes now because I think brokers or traders have learned that you learn to trade wisely. This is not that where market just go all the way up and all the way down. Now we've seen a scenario where returns are still better than what we have in the money market. If, for example, all those companies have called now, if their dividends are paid, they are still more than what the money market is going to give. So basically, there's still people still have that trust in the market that they're going to get good returns at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yes, what I'll say that, example, Zenith, the PAT was about 2 to 3%, which was and very marginal, like what they used to give those days. But one thing that they've given us the same dividends they've given for the past and the same interim. And I think other banks, other companies are going to follow suit. The profits are not much, but they are still giving us the same dividend. And I think that is what investors are interested in.
Okay. So thank you for that. Thank you for that update, Abdul Rashid Momo. So
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you. So that was Abdul Rashid Momo, stockbroker at TRW Stockbrokers. So now I was talking about the unlisted securities market, which had this amount of volume traded yesterday. And then let's flip over to the fixed income market. The bonds market made a switch back to bullish positions, because of investors' demand for, in particular, the April 2023, the March 2027, as well as the March 2036 bonds, respectively. Now, this is the total number of deals carried out yesterday. 22 was 28.32 billion naira. Flipping over to the treasury bills market, not a pretty good picture there. The average yield there remains unchanged at 4.6%. Number of deals carried out there, not too good, 5, worth about 5.50 billion naira. At the open market operations, no activity there, pretty flat, quiet, nothing, no activity there. And of course, moving over to the CBN special bills, the 29th of November 2021 paper is still the only actively traded there, which had 21 deals worth about 51 billion naira. So that's just all for the market too. So we'll be having, we'll keep our fingers crossed for how the market pans out at the close of today's trading session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anita. Well, I guess one of the things that we would have to look at on Saturday during capital markets will be the outlook for the third quarter, corporate earnings and workings in the market, both markets, because we hear a lot of quiet lull seasons in the fixed income market, especially. Well, that would be part of our conversation on Saturday. That'll be during capital market at 7 p.m. So please do join us then. For now, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll head to London, where we'll speak with Juliana. Stay with us. It's Business Morning on Channels Television. You're welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television. Over to London now. We have Juliana joining us. Hello, Juliana. Good morning. Yeah, so Juliana, we learned you may be paying more for energy bills, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, and it's looking likely to be a pretty cold winter here in the UK. It's cold already, and we've only just entered the second day of September. But there are two parts to this story. I think you'll remember a couple of months ago when we discussed that the energy regulator Ofgem would be, for the first time in many years, increasing the benchmark for how much people pay for their gas and electricity. And this is because as soon as lockdown restrictions across the world started to ease, demand for electricity was high, so the wholesale price went up. So that's one part of the story. So by next month, customers up and down the UK will be paying on average about £190 more per month for their gas and electricity bill. But new data released this morning does show that the wholesale electricity price in the UK for August, month on month, has jumped 14%. This is the highest surge that they've seen since about 1990. Typically, it costs about £107 per megawatt hour. But it's risen stupendously, and that is because of the very cold winter we saw last year in Europe, and it's now starting to deplete the gas available. So yes, not great. Lots of campaigners are increasingly worried about hundreds of thousands of people across the UK. I believe there are about 400,000 people that are likely going to be pushed into fuel poverty. So it is a massive talking point here in the UK. As you know, it does get very, very cold here.
Yeah, well, incidentally, Juliana, back here in Nigeria, just yesterday we discussed a possible hike in electricity tariff, and already the labor union are threatening strikes. So I see that's not the way it works in the UK, but that's the way it is here. But anyway, moving to other issues now. Amazon is planning to hire 2,500 people in the UK and 40,000 in the United States. Are they expanding?
Amazon are expanding, and it's a massive story. I just was doing some research before I came on air, actually. Last year, Amazon hired over 500,000 people. Globally, across the world, they have 1.3 million staff. In America, they are the second highest private sector employer behind Walmart. So they're doing absolutely amazing. And to announce his takeover from former boss Jeff Bezos, the new chief executive Andy Jassy was given an interview to Reuters. And how better way to announce your new position to the world than mentioning the fact that you're going to be hiring 50,000 jobs over the next couple of months. As you said, the vast majority of these positions will be available to prospective staff in America, 2,500 here in the UK, and then there'll be positions available, I believe, in Germany, India, and Japan. But as we know, I know you definitely know, Inni, during the pandemic, it's been good business for the tech giants, and Amazon are doing greater and greater. And of course, now they've got their eyes set on the edge of space. So I'm sure they'll be recruiting people for the foreseeable future.
Talking about some benefit from COVID there. Well, thank you so much, Juliana. We'll talk to you later on at 1:30 during Business Incorporated. So let's move to the crypto space now with Laddie Williams.
All right, Inni, one word. The crypto market is on fire. This morning,
Can we call fire service?
Yeah, we should call the fire service. You see Bitcoin there bouncing back to the 49,000 range. Ethereum breaking a major resistance, up about 6% this morning. And a couple of major altcoins all in the green. It's a green market. Cardano also breaking a resistance of $3 this morning. Market cap there, we have added about $20 billion to the market cap. It's at $2.23 trillion, up by 5.21%. 24-hour volume, $127.43 billion traded in the total crypto market. Bitcoin dominance sliding down from yesterday. It was about 42% yesterday, down to 41.93% this morning. Let's bring it Gilbert Joe Patton, our digital market analyst. Great to have you, Gilbert.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Laddie.
Gilbert, I see the bulls seem to be in control of the market right now. We see Ethereum breaking a major resistance of about $3,800 this morning. What's going on?
Well, I'll call it bull market version 1.2. So this is actually a sign of the bull market and also a sign of alt season. So the better the price surge, the better also the alt season. But I will expect a little decline afterwards so that we could have a better alt season. Ethereum is finally having the deserved attention from institutional and retail investors. It has broken levels of significance out of its accumulation structure. So at this point, I'm expecting further upward movement, and then people will not massively. Those who actually believe that this bull market wasn't real, at this point, they have already believed that this is a bull market. So very soon we'll have major influx of persons into the market, and we'll have the euphoric alt season and bull run, which we expect to see.
I hope that some people don't end up buying the top at this point. But I see FTT, the FTX exchange token, hit a new high this morning. What's driving sentiment there?
Okay, for those who end up buying the top, they will always do that because they will always look out for what is pumping, rush into it, and once they get into it, they will discover they just bought the top, and then it starts declining. They will see another asset that is pumping, they still rush into it, and this is because they don't have a method towards going into the market. But for FTX hitting a new all-time high, this was actually a response to the acquisition by FTX, which they bought LedgerX. So LedgerX is a digital currency option exchange which is fully regulated under the Futures Trading Commission in the United States. And knowing that there is less penetration of the U.S. market due to heavy regulation, this move will now better serve the U.S. market and bring in more liquidity to the market. It was actually great to see the price of SPT, which is the native token of FTX, respond with a new all-time high. And the team actually of FTX, led by Sam, is actually making remarkable moves, branding, partnership, and also acquisition, which is good for his personal, for his business brand and the market in general.
All right, Joe, looking at the market now, it's green, there's a high risk of FOMO at this point. How would you advise, new investors, or traders at this point to, enter this market? What kind of coins do they go for? Do they go for the already pumped or, look for the ones that are undervalued?
I actually believe there are many ships in the cryptocurrency market. Don't move after ships that have left the earth to the moon. Actually look for a ship that has a solid team and bring in a real solution to the market that is still on earth and get into the ship. Stop chasing coins that are pumping. It means you don't have a method towards investing or trading. So they should get a method which will actually give to them more than it takes from them.
Right. So what are you bullish on right now?
No, I'm still bullish on Solana. Presently, I'm looking more into FTT at the moment. Solana actually did not just perform. It actually outperformed like I expected it to. But likewise, Cardano, I think one should be more cautious of Cardano at the moment because it has actually given us a massive run. Probably there's more room for overperformance, but one should be careful at this particular moment. So I'm actually looking at currencies that actually haven't overperformed at the moment. So my eyes are rather on those particular currencies right now.
Yeah, it's incredible the amount of gains Cardano has given me. I remember it was stuck at 4 cents for the longest time. Now breaking $3, a mighty feat, I must say.
Yes, it is. Actually, as much as I believe that the fundamentals of Cardano is great and they have a new launch, which they have slated to launch, I actually also believe that there is a couple of hype also surrounding Cardano. The fundamentals are not as great as it actually appears to be. Actually, they are great, but there is more of hype right now at the moment to it. I actually think those who have made much gains, there's nothing wrong in taking short-term profits and also look for other assets that have not really outperformed. That is, if Cardano is not your long-term investment, you could start looking at making some short-term profits.
Okay, always remember to take profit. That's the message. All right, Gilbert, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, top 5 top alts by market cap. We have BNB there at $492, close to the $500 mark, up about 5.25%. Let's also switch gears. Now let's see what's happening in the NFT space. We see Afin there launching their marketplace for traders of NFTs. NFTs are really big, this year. And they also have that AfroX NFT for Africans looking to sell their NFTs, And we also have another interesting story here. A 12-year-old boy from London makes £290,000 from NFTs. Incredible. He made this artwork and tokenized it and sold it for that amount. Incredible. A 12-year-old so rich from buying and selling NFTs. NFTs have been on fire this year. We've seen the likes of Chili's, making incredible gains at this point. So, Ini, I don't know, you might be looking to sell some NFTs. What do you think?
I was actually going to ask you, don't you just wish that boy was your son?
Yeah, that would be really nice.
That would be the best thing ever.
That would be a really like. I think I need to get my kids on that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But please do remember, this is not a financial advice.
Yeah.
It's just happenings in the crypto space that we bring to you on this segment of the program. And I do hope that Ladi is getting set for our e-Naira.
Oh, yes.
You should have a segment
countdown
for that.
Yes, countdown to the
October 1st.
October 1st. Incredible. I'll get my wallet ready.
All right, well, that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I will come to you again tomorrow, God's grace. I'm Ini John Mekwa, but of course, before tomorrow, 1:30, we'll be on for Business Incorporated. You have updates from the world of business.
And I'm Ladi Williams. Thank you for watching.